Yes, good morning, everyone. This session is specifically for revision for quiz 2. Can you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I'm able to hear you.
Okay. So we will discuss about mock 2 questions, and if you have any queries, you can post it in the chat box, or you can raise your hands to ask your queries based on that mock 2 questions. Okay. So I think 25 members have connected to this meeting. So let's start the meeting within a couple of minutes.
Okay, ma'am. So I'll be sharing the screen, and then.
Okay. Can you are going to present the mock 2 questions, right?
Yeah. I'll be presenting the front end. Yeah. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, visible, Akash.
Okay. So just wanted to check if the font is sufficiently large enough for the everyone to see.
If we zoom it a little bit, it will be eligible for us to be clear. Okay. That's it.
Yeah, I think this is fine, right?
Yeah. Now it's correct. Okay. Let's start the session.
Yeah, ma'am. I think it's right now.
Okay. So the first question is, consider the following 2 tables in which table A is having primary key as ID, and table B is having primary key as ref ID, and the foreign key as ID, which refers to the primary key table A. So second table is having a foreign key that is representing to table A ID. So just scroll down a little bit so that we can able to visit. Yeah, first and second table simultaneously. So now first table is not visible. Yeah, it's okay. Right. So second table. So the question is, we have to take these 2 tables, and the question follows below this table. So we have to identify, first we have to group the table A based on city. And after grouping it based on ascending order, after grouping it, we have to identify either the name or the city. Right. So just scroll down a little bit, Atash. Okay. So this is the question. Which of the following queries will return records from the tables such that name is equal to Amruta and city is equal to Chennai, ordered by the name in ascending order, right? So we are ordering the table by using this inner join, and by seeing the query itself, you can able to identify it consists of 2 conditions. Either the name should be equal to Amruta or the city should be equal to Chennai. So from that itself, we can easily identify the options, whatever the options that are available. So only 3 options you have to go through. The last one is none of the above. So just scroll it down. Atash. So first option, we are select asterisk from table A, inner join table B on table A dot ID is equal to table B dot ID, and where table A dot city is equal to Chennai, or table name A dot name is equal to Amrita. So this is somewhat what is there in the question, exactly that is presented in option 1. But if you see in option 2 and option 3, they are checking only the name, as well as in option 3, it is checking only the city. And if you see the fourth option, it is none of the above. So obviously from the question itself, we can able to understand the first option is the correct one. So if you have any doubts regarding this first question, you can ask it now.
Ma'am, in the first option itself, it says in the last line, order by 2 ASC. What does 2 signify over here?
Order by 2 ASC. So ASC is for ascending order, and so 2 is for the column. So we are just scroll it up, others. Yes.
Is it fine, ma'am? So I want to see the table or the options.
I want to see the first option as well as the second.
Okay.
Okay. So
okay, first option. Yeah.
So order by 2 represent we are ordering based on the location.
We have to order it in using the name column. I get that, but
Yes.
This name column is being represented by the number 2, and 2 is signifying for which table is it signifying exactly? Table A or table B?
2 representing the foreign key, which is represented by the table A. From table B, for ID 2 is representing the foreign key to table A, ID 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so see, just to add,
Okay,
sorry for
okay.
interruption. Yeah, so here we are, ordering by table name, right? So name, if you see, is the second column for both the table.
Yes.
So in that case, it will be, taking care of, it will be ordering by the name itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is another way of writing. So if I don't want to write the name directly, see, order by name also would have been one of the right queries, right? So order by name. But instead of writing name, we can also write the column name of that particular column number of that particular column.
Don't we need to specify which table it like connects to?
So that is specified in the line, it's right, because inner join table B on table A.id and table B.id. So that is the relation between table A.id and table B.id. If you see in both the table, name will be the second column.
Okay.
Madam, can we assume that the order by 2 is the joined table A and join B? Can we assume something like that? Am I right?
Yes, yes. A relation between B and A is joined using this inner join method, right? Inner join, we are using a connector for A and B. So using that, we are relating between table A and table B, and that too from the column 2. And we are checking the condition. Either the condition should be the city should be Chennai, or the name should be equal to Amruta. So for that itself, we are representing the table A.city and table A.name. So from that itself, we can able to identify. So if you want to ask me to show it in database execution, I'm ready to show. If you want to see that.
No, ma'am, that would be fine.
Okay, okay. Okay, next, then if there is no other queries, we can move on to the next question. Is there any other queries related to this? Okay, Adarsh, we can move on to the second question. So considering the given table below, so this is also based on the table A. So the same table what is presented in the first question. So what will be the output of the following SQL query? So they have given the query and you have to identify what is the result of that query. So the query is select asterisk from table A, group by city, having count ID greater than or equal to 3, order by city, descending. So obviously descending means we are going to order by city, which is descending order. So the city column will be arranged in the format of descending order. So Delhi will come first and the Chennai, there are 3 Chennais. So Chennai will come after Delhi, right? So it is in a descending order and we are going to group this based on city. So by grouping it, so Chennai is of 3 numbers and Delhi is of 1 number. And after grouping it, we are going to check the condition if the count ID is greater than or equal to 3. And based on that, it has to display the content. So based on this, automatically it will be displaying the content. So just scroll down. So the first option is, it is displaying Delhi first, but what is our query? It has to identify the count ID which is greater than or equal to 3. So obviously the city which is having a count which is equal to 3 or greater than 3 has to be filtered first. And after that we are selecting that city. So first option will not be available where Delhi is coming as well as the Chennai is there, right? So Delhi is of only 1 count, so we cannot able to select that. So that option is wrong. Similarly, the second option, if you see, so in second option also we are representing the count ID is greater than or equal to 3. And that is also, it is selecting two cities. So Delhi should not be selected because it is of count 1. So if you see the third option, it is the right option, where the count is of greater than or equal to 3, which is Chennai. So third option will be the correct answer for this question, right? So if you see, you can able to identify. So, yes. So this is how we have that. First, we are grouping based on the city. So 3 Chennai will be grouped as well as 1 Delhi will be grouped. And from that, we are arranging them in a descending order. So Delhi will be placed first and then Chennai will be placed second, and which is consisting of 3 elements. So now we are checking of the count ID which is greater than or equal to 3. Obviously, even though if you are using ID, if you use name also, it will display the same query result, because we are checking for the count after grouping it. So we can either use the name column or we can use the ID column to which is greater than or equal to 3. And if you print the result, you will get the same option as third option, which is 2 Rahul Chennai.
Ma'am, why it is not selecting other names from the same city, like from Chennai?
Why it is not selecting the other two names?
Yes.
So we are having other 2 names, right?
Right.
So 1 minute. So just give me 1 minute. So I have already explained. So we are selecting it from the table A, and we are displaying only the first element. We are not displaying the first content. We are not displaying the remaining content, which is the first row, which is satisfying this particular condition, that will be displayed. Because we have grouping it into a single one. So obviously Chennai is grouped into single one and it is representing the first row only.
Yeah, so that question is right. So why it's not showing only one row and it's not showing other rows, and you have not mentioned that in your question that we are showing only one row. In that case, none of the above is the correct answer, because you have never mentioned that we are showing only one row, other row we are not displaying, though it's there.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Okay. So here actually the option here, the correct option is 3, because the above query will select one record with all column data from table A and grouping it by city from table A and filter it based on the count ID greater than or equal to 3, and also the result is descending order, so it will select only the first one.
No,
So-
I still, yeah, so I still don't agree because you have not selected that, say, if you have selected the first row only. So I forget that exact syntax.
First record. Yes, it will select the first record.
Yeah,
but it's the descending order. So descending order, Delhi will come first, then only the first Chennai will come, where 2 Rahul Chennai will be available. So if you see the table, so just 1 minute. So just Adarsh, can you please scroll up to show the table? So if you see the table here, if you arrange this based on descending order, 3 Amruta Delhi will come to the first record. And then all the 3 Chennai will come down based on that. Second record will be 2 Rahul Chennai. And third record, that is the ID 4 will be in the third record column, where 4 Ram Chennai will be in the third record column, and fourth record column will be 5 Tejish Chennai, correct? Right. So now after doing this, before arranging it in the descending order itself, we are grouping it into city-based group, right? So since we are grouping it, Chennai will be grouped into one group and Delhi will be the second group. After that, we are applying this descending order. So Delhi will move to the first record and remaining the groups will be moved down. So from that, we are selecting the first record. So obviously, you will get the output as the first record.
But ma'am, what order you are mentioning is in ascending, right?
We can also, so here if you see DESC, descending.
Right.
Yeah.
So the higher the Chennai will come first, right? Because it has 3
So
counts.
descending means D will come first, C will come down. Descending, Z will be first priority. After that only you have to represent A. Z will be first, and then so it will be Z, Y, Z, like that it goes off, descending. So D will come first, then only we have to represent C. Okay. Yes, got it? Neeraj.
The Chennai part is clear.
Okay,
that-
Chennai
okay.
part is clear. Okay.
Chennai part, so I don't have any doubt on that. But the question is why it will not show Rahul, Ram, and Tejas? It should be like that way, right?
Yeah,
As per your query.
yeah. See, what you are saying is correct, but what is since we have grouped it, it is selecting the first occurrence of that particular condition satisfying row, right? So since we have grouped it, Chennai will be grouped as a one single, right? So one single city as Chennai, and Delhi will be grouped as one single city as Delhi. Here the count is 1, but for Chennai we are having 3. So that and all different part. So after grouping it, based on your query, what it is checking, it is checking for the conditions. So first row itself satisfying the condition so that it is executing it. So if you put this query within a for loop to identify for three iterations and all, you can able to identify Ram and Tejas in that. Because we are not going to execute the query for 3 times. We are going to execute it only one time. So for the first time itself, it is identified. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, yes, now a little detour. If I want to print all, say Rahul, Ram, and Tejas, what could be my query?
Then you should not group it. You have to just identify the city as Chennai. Then you can, by representing as descending order and identifying it as Chennai. After that, you can able to, you should not group it. If you group it, it will, the Chennai will be clustered into a single group. Based on that, it will retrieve the record, first record of that particular group.
No, so that's not my recommend. My recommend is actually, so there could be, say, multiple cities. Out of those multiple cities.
Yeah. Then if you remove group by and if you check the condition, if the city is equal to Chennai, then automatically it will bring it. But the count ID will not be working for that, because for group only we are checking for the count, right? So here the count.
Give me 1 minute to complete my question, madam.
Oh, sorry, sir. Yes.
Okay. So let's assume that we have multiple cities, say Chennai, Calcutta, Delhi, Madras, whatever it is. Okay. Now, out of the cities, I want to display only those names where I have multiple, more than 3 mention of a particular city. Okay. I'm not explicitly mentioning this Chennai or Delhi, whatever it is. Okay. I want to mention only those names where the city name has more than 3 records. In that case, what could be the query?
In that case, this query will working fine, but that case also it will retrieve the first record of each group which is greater than or equal to 3.
So you're saying there is no query available where I can put all the Chennai guys, right?
No, I'm not saying that no query will be available. You have to reframe the query such that you can retrieve all the Chennai guys from a particular group.
Okay, so can you please park this question and come back later? So where you can
sure.
Yeah, you can show me the query where I can print all the Chennai guys.
Rajesh, if you want all the Chennai guys, you need to remove the group by clause.
Yeah, that's why I am also specifying, Hari.
No, Chennai guy in that case. Okay, so not explicitly Chennai guy. I want to print all the name where the city they are living in has mentioned more than 3 times. In that way.
Yeah, that is what, for that only I'm specifying, sir.
Yeah. So Rajesh, what you are trying to do now would be done by this count ID, right? Okay, so that particular part will be taking care of the names of all the people whose name is coming twice or whose city is coming more than once. Okay. So here what we are doing here, count ID greater than 3, right? So here only we have Chennai's the city Chennai, which has been repeated 3 times. Okay. So what we will do, we'll try to first thing that we will do is remove this group by clause. Okay. What group by is doing, it is making only those groups which it is making the groups of unique cities. Okay. So since there are only 2 cities, there will be only 2 groups made. Okay, and now the problem is Delhi had 1, so Amruta would sufficiently be done. But there is a problem with Chennai. We are taking Chennai uniquely, but what name to put along with Chennai? That is the issue. Right. So in that case, what will happen? First, so if we try to break this query, what will happen? It will select all those records from the table A, where for now we'll forget about this group by, right, where the city is having count ID greater than 3. That itself will create all the keep all the records of Chennai together.
Right.
Okay, so you will have and again we'll forget about this descending for a minute. Okay, so initially we'll have 3 names, for example, which will be 2, 4, and 5, right? Rahul Chennai, Ram Chennai, Tejas Chennai, and then we'll have Amruta and then Delhi.
Right.
Okay. Now now when we use group by clause, what will happen? All these 3 entries with the city Chennai will be clubbed together. Okay, and the first entity or the first record that was representing the Chennai will be taken. That only will be taken.
Okay.
Okay. So in that case, we'll have to neglect Ram and Tejas.
Okay, got it.
Now, what will happen if you remember the filters that we have done in the week 2 solve with instructor? We had to use group by clause. Okay, so what will happen? There will be grouper, and then there will be the elements of that grouper. Here in our case, the grouper will be Chennai, and the elements of that grouper will be this 2, 4, 5, Rahul, Ram, and Tejas. Okay, so if you want to print them one by one, then we can just retrieve this using the group by clause and then reprint one by one, Rahul, Ram, and Tejas.
Okay. Okay, clear. Thank you.
Okay, so that is all. So what is creating problem here is the group by clause. Okay, we have to neglect
Yes.
the other entries where the city is Chennai.
Okay, so group by actually is suppressing the other information. It's just
Yeah,
taking
that's right.
only first one. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Got
right.
it.
So if you do not use this group by and simply use count ID greater than 3, we'll have all the entries.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
And sir, if instead of descending, we use ascending here, will that change from Rahul to Tejas? Or the
No,
output?
because we are ascending. See, city is there, no? Order by city and then descending. So it doesn't matter what is there in the name column. We are using this ascending and descending with respect to city.
Okay, so in particular example, it will not change the output then, right? Okay.
Okay, had the order by clause been used with the name, right? Name descending, then it would have, ordered it in the descending order, and in that case, Tejas would have been the record.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so all right, I guess this part is clear, right? So we can move it. Yeah, ma'am, you can. I'll just scroll to the next question.
Okay, thank you, Adarsh. So the second question here is, this is the table that is given, and we have to just scroll down to see the. Adarsh, can you able to hear me?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So the correct SQL query that will print details of workers whose first name contains A will be, right? So the first name should contains A. It is not specifying that it should start with A, or it's not specifying that it should end with A, or something like that, right? So it is from the question itself, it is correct that it has to have A in any one of the place other than starting or ending, right? So based on this query, yes, now scroll it down. So we have to identify whichever the worker's name which is starting with it. So these are the options that are given. So if you see the first option, so that first option is to select a query which end with A, name which first name ends with A, right? And second option, we have to select the workers such that the first name that starts with character A. And the third option, it's a query that contains A in any portion of the in between first and last, any portion, the character A may be present in the first name of the worker. And the last one, the A will be occurring only at the second position of the worker, right? So based on these four options, our question is to find the first name that contains A at any position other than first or last, right? So implicitly they have not given that it's first. Implicitly it has to be understand that it should not be first or last, but it should contain A, right? So based on that, we are representing the query, and the correct answer for this query is the option 3, right? Because that will represent at any position of that name, it contains A within that worker, right? So within this particular table, if you take the first name of the worker, so the worker can contain the character A at any position within that first name, right? So option 3 is the correct answer for this question 3. So any doubts in this question?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So if there is no other doubts, we can move on to the next question. So next is consider the table customer in SQLite database. So this is the table which consists of 4 columns: customer ID, customer name, city and country. So the question here is, what will be the correct SQL query to find the position of the alphabet E in the string? That is manual Pereira. So this is also one of the question in this course they have asked about this from customer table, right? So manual Pereira from customer table. So we have to identify the position of the alphabet E. So that is the question, and that is specifically to the customer name manual Pereira, right? So we will see what are the options that are present in this question. First option, just scroll it down, Adarsh. Okay. So the first option is select substring customer name comma E from customer, where customer name is equal to manual Pereira, right? So if you see here, substring method is used to identify. So normally the syntax for representing substring is which column you are going to identify. That should be the first parameter. And after that, that second and third parameter should be an integer value that specifies the starting and ending of the starting position and ending position of the substring, right? But in this first option, the query itself, it's not clear because it is the second parameter here they have given us character E, right? So obviously in the substring, it will print the entire name as it is there in the customer name is equal to manual Pereira. So manual Pereira will be printed as it is if you execute this first query, right? So because substring should consist of three parameters, first parameter should be the column name, second parameter should be the starting position of the substring, and third parameter should be the ending position of the substring. And these two positions should be in an integer format. So since it is violating the syntax, so even though it is violating, it is not generating any syntax error, you will get the output, but the output is not correct based on the question that has been asked in this question. So the content that is printed based on this query will be, it will print the entire name manual Pereira. So the first option is wrong. So next, the second option, we are using the method in string, that is INSTR in string, and customer name comma the character within single quotes from customer, where customer name is equal to manual Pereira, right? And if you see here, here first they have given us customer ID. Second option, they have given the column name as customer ID, but we have to identify the customer name. Here, since it is given as ID, this second option is also invalid. So if you move to the third option, so here also select INSTR. So before going to the third option, let me tell you. So in STR means it will identify whether the second parameter is present in the first representing column, right? So it will identify whether the second character is present in the column, and here they have specified the column name as manual Pereira. So obviously it will check whether E is present in manual Pereira. So now if you see the option 3 in STR, column name comma character that is given in single quotes E from customer, where customer name is equal to manual Pereira, right? So I think this is third one will be the correct answer because it is checking for the character E in the given name manual Pereira. So if you see the fourth option also, it is checking for the customer ID is equal to 1. So customer ID is here, if you see, so just scroll up. So if you see there, scroll up to see the table. Adarsh. Sorry, scroll down. So if you see here, the customer ID is also equal to 1. So that is representing the customer name manual Pereira. So that option, fourth option is also correct, and it is also using the in string. So now scroll down. So the option third and fourth are the correct options. because both are identifying whether character E is present in that column name, customer name, and then the name is equal to Manuel Pereira, or the customer ID is equal to 1. Both are correct, right? So this is the third and fourth are correct options for this question. So if you have any doubts, you can ask.
So what will be the output of this one?
Output of what?
What is the output of this query?
So the output of the query will be 5. If you the Manuel Pereira, first occurrence of the character E in that given string, right? So if you the E has been given in str, so obviously it will check what is the position of E, first occurrence of E. So there are so many number of E in Manuel Pereira. E is occurring in the 5th position, 6th, 7th, 8th position, as well as it is occurring in the 10th position. But this particular method will print only the character, first occurrence of that character in that given string. Okay, Rajesh?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So now, if any more queries based on fourth question? So then we will move on to the fifth question if you are not having any other queries. So fifth question, consider the following Flask app and the templating file. So the app file has been given here. If you see here in this app, we have imported Flask as well as we are importing the render template, and we are assigning app is equal to Flask name, and using decorator, we are representing the path. And within the decorator, we are representing the function home and returning and rendering the HTML file index.html, and same is running in that host 0.0. So either you can give 127.0.0.1 or you can give 0.0.0.0, or if you give local host also, it will run in the same host. Okay, now scroll down to see the index.html file. Others, can you please scroll down? So if you see here in the index.html file, we are representing all the contents. In form method, we are representing as post as well as the actions is representing to represent the URL path where we are going to get the output when your web server is running, right? So these, and we are initializing one label as first name and text as first name, as well as one label for last name and a text for last name, as well as one summary button, right? So while you're running this Flask application, it will start running in your local host, and if you go to that URL of local host, automatically now we will see. So this is how these two your app.py as well as index.html program is represented. So now we will move on to the question. What is the question based on this given content? So which of the following statements are true or is true in case we are running the Flask application on HTTP? So the URL given here is correct. So 127.0.0.1:5000 in your web browser, right? So if you see the form method in index.html, they have normally we will represent both get and post here, but here they have given only the post, right? So we will see what are the options here, then we will come back to this line. Okay, just scroll down to see the options for this question. Adarsh. So the first option is it will throw a method not allowed error whenever we try to submit the form. And second option, it will submit the input form data successfully. After running app.py, it will throw a page not found error and none of the above. So these are the four options that has been given here. So since we have not used get and post method in the form, automatically it will throw method not allowed error. That is the first option. So that will be the correct option for this particular question. So if you see the form method, there we have represented only post, right? So here so we have to represent both get and post method in that to represent it, right? So that is how we are. So that is the correct answer for this particular question. So whenever we run an app.py file, it will display a form, and whenever we try to submit any data to that form, it will show a method not allowed error, because we have represented only post in that form method. If you represent methods is equal to within a list format or square bracket, get comma post, automatically to route the decorator, automatically that method not allowed error can be rectified. So that is the flaw in the index.html file. So if you identify that, automatically you can represent the option 1 is correct for that particular question, right? So if you have any questions related to this question, you can ask. No, you can ask it. Okay, if no question is there, then we can move on to the next question, Adarsh. Sixth question. Okay, so consider the Flask app given below. So here also we have represented the app, Flask app, so which consists of importing function app as importing method app, as well as there we have given an dictionary customer info equal to 1 represent government official, 2 represent businessman, 3 represent entrepreneur, and 4 represent freelancer, right? And after that we are using app decorator to route that particular URL. And for while routing it, we are representing the URL as customer / integer customer ID, right? So if you are passing any value to this, if you pass that, this particular function will be executed, right? Based on the URL, what you are passing this, and so that and all you know it clearly because you have done your projects up to that level. So what function it is going to execute? Define random, and customer ID is the parameter for this random function, and ID is equal to customer ID, and then the designation is equal to customer underscore info, and it is returning customer information, that is heading, and the paragraph the entered customer is that will be displayed here, where the customer info is nothing but what already we have specified in the dictionary variable customer info. Based on that value, it will retrieve the ID, that is what we are passing in that URL. So based on that ID, it will generate that variable DESCD, sorry, CR or CD. Just zoom it, Adarsh. CR, okay. So that is the variable which is storing the customer information based on the ID what we are passing, and that will be displayed in that paragraph, right? So if you run this, what will be, so this is the query which we are going to run. So HTTP localhost :/customer/3. So if you type this query, automatically the decorator app that route will be executed, and it will pass the parameter 3 for that. And what is 3 in the customer information? 3 representing the, for key value 3, the value here is entrepreneur. So that will be stored in the DESCR, and that DESCR will be displayed here. So based on this understanding, we will see what are the options present here. As scroll it down a little bit. Adarsh, can you please? Okay. So first is customer information, which is already we have represented as heading. So it will be displayed as it is. And second one is your DESCR variable representation. So third represents So what is the value of third key? Is anyone? So third key represents entrepreneur. So obviously it will print entrepreneur. So second option is the correct option, right? So any doubts in this? Second option is the correct option because it will choose the value that pointed by the key 3, and that will be stored in DESCR, and that will be displayed as an output in that particular URL. As there is no other doubts, so in chat box they have given some queries. What is the importance for attribute in label? Can you please elaborate your question? Lakshman. Attribute in label means, so actually we are representing label in HTML only, we have seen in this questions. So label represent whatever values you are assigning to that, statically it will be stored in that particular label. And the text box represent, you can enter values during that HTML form, right? So I don't know what you are asking about attribute. So label is to represent the variable as a static one. So you can, whatever values you are giving there, that will, so for example, if you want to enter a name, you can represent name as a label. And nearby that name, you can represent a text box where you can enter value for that name. Which question, Dinesh? 6th question or 5th question? Which question you want? 6th question. This one, okay. Just see the question. So what will be the browser ender for the given URL? http://localhost:5000/customer/3. Can you able to see that, Dinesh? Yes, after seeing that, you can post your queries. I'm waiting to answer for your queries. Yes, okay. Now ask the doubt. Okay. So just want to clarify that. I think you have asked for the query. So query represents, since we are passing 3, it is collecting the dictionary value entrepreneur from the customer information, and that is stored in the variable DESCR, and that is displayed in the HTML file. That's it, right? So option 2 is the correct option for question number 6. Okay, if you don't have any other queries, let's move on to the question number 7. Adarsh, can you please take over from here? Adarsh?
Yeah, ma'am. So questions from the next questions will be coming questions will be taken by Sonal, right? Sonal, you're there?
Yes, I'm
Thank you,
And
Adarsh.
we'll go to, yeah, thanks, ma'am. We'll go to the 7th question. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, so in this question number 7, you can, the question is, consider the following Flask application. So here we can see that there is a Flask application in which the first view function, that is the home, the route is like the app.route. Yeah, the app.route is the / about page, and this view function is returning, this is my home page. The next view function, that is projects, the route related to it is / project page and /, and yeah, it is returning the project page. After that, we have one more function, view function, and the route function related to this view function. So yeah, the route related to this view function is slash about page slash project page and double slash. Okay, so this view function is returning this is about the project page. So here, before going into the next section, can you scroll up a little bit? Okay, yeah, okay. So in this question, you can notice the slashes at the end, right? At the second view function, you can notice the trailing slash at the end, right? Like slash project page and then the trailing slash. At the route function of the result view, you can also see that there is a two slashes after the project page. So what does this mean? So if you know something about the Flask documentation, and you had read some of the things on that page, you can see a thing like redirection behavior. So a Flask app has some kind of behavior, like if we defining any route, right? If we defining any route in our app.route, so there is a very significant meaning of a trailing slash. If we are giving a slash at the end of the route, let's say we are giving here in our question we are giving a slash at the end, like project page slash. So if we go to the particular URL, if we hit the particular URL, so it is mandatory to write a slash at the end, and it is also fine if you are not writing the slash at the end. Are you getting what I'm saying? Let's say if in this route app.route, there will be not any trailing slash at the end, and there is only the project page and nothing else after that. So if you go to the URL, or if you hit the particular URL like slash project page, and then you are writing a slash, then the browser throws you a page not found error, because here in the route function you are not defining the trailing slash at the end. But if you are defining the slash at the end, so it will not give you a error or page not found error. It is your choice to write the thing, or you can ignore the thing, right? So in the app.route, at the result view also, you can see that we have two number of slashes at the end. So it is not mandatory to if we can give any number of slashes, right? We can give 5 or 6 or 7 number of slashes, but the browser will browser will compose only one slashes at the end. They only consider one slashes at the end, and when you write the particular URL in the browser with a slash, one slash only, it will also work. And if you are not going to give any slash, it will also redirect to the slashes, okay, the slash at the end. So what our question is asking, which of the following statement is are true? So what are our options? So our options are yeah, the first option is for the URL http and colon and slash this about page slash, the browser will render this is my home page. So about page slash, can you go up a little bit? About page and slash, wait, about page and slash. So see here in our question, sorry, in our route related to the home view, we can see we are not defining any slash at the end, right? We are not defining any slash at the end. So whenever we hit a slash, whenever we add a slash by our choice in the browser, so it will not work. It will never go to the it will never show that this is my home page, this kind of thing. They will never return it. And when if in case you are adding a trailing slash at the end, and then if you are hitting the particular URL that is that had been given in the option 1, this will work, right? But in the case which in our option 1 is given, it will not work because we are asking the browser to render something which is not defined, right? So obviously this option is wrong. Can you go back? Yeah, so our second option is for the URL, this and slash project page slash. The browser will render the same as the URL project page. There is no slash. Okay, so can you go up? Project page, right? Okay, so see, in the second route, the route regarding the projects function, you can see we had defined a trailing slash at the end, right? We had defined it in our routes, app.routes. So whenever we hit this URL in the browser, whenever we hit the URL in the browser with the trailing slash, it will redirect you to. Okay, so if you are hitting the URL with a slash, it will work. And if you are not hitting that particular URL without without a slash, it will also redirect to a particular URL which is defined in your app.route. Right? It will automatically redirect you to a slash project page slash. So the both will work. So that's why here in the second option, you can see that the URL, the first URL that you can see and the second URL you can see, the both will the same, and both will work at the same time, because we had defined the slash, so it will work with a slash or without a slash. And when we are hitting the particular URL without a slash, it will redirect to a URL with a slash. So yeah, in the third option, can you go up? Okay, in the third option, you can see for the URL HTTP about page slash project page, the browser will show page not found error. So slash about page slash project page. Okay, so see here in the last route, you can see that slash about page and slash project page, and after that we are also defining two slashes. Okay, so as I told you earlier, it is not so as many as trailing slash. If you want to give as many as trailing slash, the browser will decompose it to one slash, and it will work something like that. So here in this option, they are telling that they are asking us to redirect to a URL which does not have a slash. So my question is, let me ask you a question at this point. So will this work or not? I told this earlier in the option 1. I had explained this point. So I just want to confirm you.
Ma'am, could you repeat the question, please?
Okay, so my question is, as in the route function related to the result, the route related to the result function, we had defined the URL with the trailing slash, two slashes, right? So will the URL work without a slash or not?
Yes, ma'am, it will work.
It will work.
Yeah. So as you all are right, it will work, definitely work. So here in option 3, how this is possible that the browser will show page not found? It will definitely work, and it will return this is about the project page, right? So this option is of course wrong option. And if we go to option 4, they are written for the URL, this slash about page slash project page and slash, the browser will render this is about the project page. So see, in this URL, they are stating that they are using a single trailing slash only, but in the in the route related to the result view, we can see the two slashes are there. So can you all say that will this work or not? Option 4.
Yes, ma'am, it will work.
Yeah, so okay, so yeah, this will also work, because as I told you earlier, as you can use as many slashes at the end, but the browser will decompose it to one slash, and then it can use the slash for their redirection and all. So yeah, this will also work. So in this particular question, option 2 and option 4 is correct. Okay, so is there any question regarding sorry, queries regarding this 7 number question?
Ma'am, what would be the reference to study this?
See, if you go to the Flask documentation, you can see one section called Flask redirection. Can you go, can you try this? Or
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, okay.
yeah. So I think there is some section.
So, ma'am, so do we have to read everything in
Redirection.
Flask documentation for tomorrow's exam?
See, the only thing you want to read about Flask is the thing that is covered in the course, right? There are many things in the Flask is very vast and documentation is very large. So you had to read only that thing which is covered in the course and in the screencast, just that part only. The thing that is asked in the practice graded and the activity questions, the scope of the question will be only through that.
But this thing wasn't covered in the course, right?
So
Was
we
it?
are giving you this thing in the mock, right? So this will give you an idea that okay, this will this thing also had to be known by you.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can you explain that the very first line @app.route / about page / project page double forward slash? Why are we using double forward slash? Because single would do the.
Yeah, okay. So are you done with your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So see, we can use any number of slashes. This is just to give you an idea that if you want to use any number of slashes, it will also work. And if you are giving one slash at the end, it will also work. But whenever you are not defining a slash at the end, and then you are asking the browser to render a page which consists of a URL which has a slash at the end, that will not work, right? So this is just to give you an idea. We can use any number of slashes and the browser will redirect us to a page which only contain one slash. So the browser will decompose all the slashes to one slash and redirect you to that page. Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But in absence of no slash at all, it will throw error, right?
Yeah, if you are not defining any slashes at the end, and if you are asking the browser to go to a page which contain a slash at the end, it will throw error. Okay.
And
So, yeah.
and what if when the page is not terminated with the slash, then will it render to that place that page?
If what if is not terminated with the
if the page itself is not terminated with forward slash in
terminated, what do you mean by terminated with the slash?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Last term, the symbol with which it ends.
Okay.
Like normally when we put app routes, we put alphabets and all. He's asking if we put a slash, if we do not put a slash there and we put a slash in the browser, will it render or not?
No, it will not render, right? It will, how do, see, if you are not defining it in the routes, if you are not defining in the app.route, that slash, so whenever you hit the URL with the slash at the browser, so how, so it will not go to any page, it will throw you a error, right? Page not found error, such thing. In the option 3, you can see that. See, in the app.route itself, we had defined our route with the trailing slash, but in the option 3, we are asking the browser to render a page which do not have a slash. So of course it will render, but it will not throw a page not found. Okay, so it will return the page. This is about the project page. It will not throw in this case. Okay. Hello. Are you clear? Who was asking the question? Lakshman, or I don't know the name.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Saurabh. Okay. Okay.
Ma'am, if in URL we write 4 or 5 slashes, will this also work?
Yeah, you can give any number of slashes. You can check this particular program with any number of slashes, but the browser will only consider one slashes at the end. It will decompose all the 5 and 6 slashes which you had put in your app.route, and it will decompose to one, and it will also work with the slash and without a slash. Okay, because you're defining the slash, right? And so this
Okay,
it will
ma'am.
work. It will work here. Okay. Oh, any more questions? Okay.
Ma'am, then which options will be correct? Like
Okay, so options, yeah, I had told earlier, but once again, option 2, I think option 2 is correct, and option 4. So, had you any query regarding option 2 and 4? As this is the correct option.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So if there is not more queries in this question, can we go to the next question? Okay. So here, the question is, consider the following Flask app and a templating file. The file app.py file is the Flask app, in which we are defining one view function, and there is a route also. We had also defined a route over there, a slash, single slash, and we are returning a HTML page which is home.html. Can you go to the templating file that is home.html? Okay, so this is our templates file, which is home.html, which is which the app.py is rendering. So here you can see that at the head section in HTML, we had in the head section, we have title, home page. So yeah, after the title defining, we had in the body section, we have something like we had defined a strong tag, and under this strong tag, this there is something written like, this is my home page. So this will definitely give you something like a bold, the thing in the bold letters, right? This is my home page. After that, we had using that Jinja syntax to yeah, we had something like for loop, and we are using the for loop on a variable x, and which is ranging between 0 to 20. So here we are looping through looping through a range between 0 to 20. And what we are asking in the under the for loop, we are checking some which we are checking for the x, which here we can see that x is modulo 3 is equal to 1, and x modulo 2 equal to 1, which means a number which gives you a remainder 1, which is divided by 3. At the same time, this number is also giving you a remainder 1 whenever it is divided by 2. So the for loop will check each and every number from 0 to 20. Let's say we are checking for 0 and then 1. So 1 is a factor of both. So if we go to 2, so it will it is a thing which gives sorry, x is modulo 3 is equal to 1. So yeah, 2 will also not work. If you go to 3, it will also not there. Okay, if you go to 4, 5, I think 6, so it will also not work. If you go to 7, okay, if you go to 7, see, if we 7 is divided by 3, if whenever it is divided by 3, it will give 1 as a remainder. And if we go to the second part, if we divide the 7 by 2, So we will also get the remainder as 1. So this will be the first number. Yeah, this will be the first number which is giving the remainder 1 when it is divided by 3, and at the same time it is also giving remainder 1 which is divided by 2. So this particular HTML document is just to ask you for those number which is in the range of 0 to 20, and it is the thing that is stated in that particular Jinja for loop syntax. So yeah, so question is, what will be the render by browser when app.py is running on the URL disk? So see, you can see in the URL, it is a trailing slash at the end. So whenever we hit the slash at the end, it will go to the particular view function, and the view function is returning the home.html, that is the our template file. So in the template file itself, we are the thing like title. So it will not show on your page, right? It will show in the yeah. So it will not show on your page. The thing you can see on the page is the thing. This is my home page, which is written in the bold, yeah, which is something like bold letters, and after that you can see some numbers, right, which is in the range of 0 to 20. So if you go to the options, can you go to the options? Okay, in the options, okay, so this is the first option. Okay, so I cannot see second option. Okay, this is the first option. So before going to the second option, let me. Okay, first option is this, right? First option is this. So see, this is my home page. This is the common thing, right? In the all the things, option 1, 2, and 3. I think there is no any such kind of. Can you scroll down? Can you scroll down a little bit? Okay. In option 1, 2, and 3, this is common, right? This is my home page, which is the thing that is written inside the strong HTML tag. So after that, we are checking the things between 0 to 20, right? So the first thing we defined is we figure out is 1, and after that we had figured out 7. Okay, so I think in the option 3 and option 4 there is nothing like can you go up? Okay, so yeah, second option is wrong, because the second number is, as you can see, it is 4, but 4 is divisible by 2. It is not giving any kind of remainder. If you divide 4 with 2, you are not getting as 1. You will get 0, right? So option 2 is wrong. If you go to the option 3, if you see the option 3, so in option 3 it is also 4, and it is also not showing 1. So 1 will the thing is like SCF, right? As highest common factor and LCM, that thing you had read about earlier. So there is also not 1, and there is also 4 here, so it is also wrong, as 4 is divisible by 2. So we are just searching for a function that is not divisible by 3 and 2 at the same time. They are giving the remainder as 1. So I think option 1 will be the correct option, because yeah, you can notice that there is no any number which is divisible by 3 and divisible by 2 at the same time. They are numbers 1, 7, 13, and 19. They are those numbers which is neither divisible by 2 and not divisible by 3, and at the same time there is a remainder, given a remainder 1 if you try those. So yeah, option 1 is I think in this case option 1 will be the correct answer. So is there any query regarding this question?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Ma'am, what change should I make in our code so that we can get all the outputs in the same line?
Output, can you go up, Adarsh?
Can I answer that?
Are you okay? You want to answer that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if it's okay, sorry. You're writing that in a template, right?
We cannot hear you clearly, Sachin.
Okay.
Can you try speaking once again? Your voice is not clearly audible.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
We have put a paragraph mark P before the X in template. But the code, by removing it, I think it will come in a single line.
Okay, so the voice is also not clear, but Sachin, are you there? Can you try once? Okay, there is some background noise there. Okay, so see what he was telling it, that you can see here the paragraph, right? Paragraph, and under paragraph, and there is a X. Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
okay, so that the thing that he was saying, that if you shift that paragraph at the after that if statement, that will also work like that. So yeah. Hello?
I didn't get you, ma'am.
So see, you can see that paragraph after that, two curly braces and then X and then curly braces and then paragraph closed.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you shift that paragraph whole paragraph element, yeah, you can shift the whole paragraph element at the just after the if statement also. It will also work. Okay, I think it will also work. Yeah. Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, hi. So, see, there are two things here. What is happening? Even if you do not give a paragraph here, okay, first thing we need to notice here is it is the X that we are printing here is in the paragraph tag. Now, what kind of tag is a paragraph?
In line? No, sorry, block.
It's a block,
yeah.
right? So even if you shift the paragraph tag in the previous line along with if, it will still take the whole place and try shifting it in the
Okay, yeah,
next
yeah.
line, right? So we'll first thing we need to remove the paragraph tag. Okay, if you remove the paragraph tag, then shift this to these things, right? This double parenthesis and X in the previous line here along with the if.
Yeah, you have
Okay,
to
and the if even this end if has to be done in the same line. Okay, then you'll get all the things in the same line.
yeah, you just have to remove that paragraph tag and then it will all appear in the same line. This paragraph is a block element.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Got the point. Yes, sir.
Right. So so we need to remove the paragraph. So that is one thing, because paragraph is a block element, so it will take its own place, right? And first thing, and second thing, we also have to put everything in single line, because by itself, if you give a space, like if you change the line here in the code itself, a line break is added. Okay, so you'll have to put everything in one line. So it's not a Python code, right? So if you're not using here a Python code, which will require indentation and stuff, so everything has to be written in one line, starting from if, then the X, then the end if, and end for, everything in one line. Okay, so yeah, so you can try this by saving like making this code into your own local file and try running it with these modifications. Then you will see the numbers, how are they appearing. Okay, so you need to remove this paragraph tag first. Okay, and then there is another concept called as HTML, not the HTML, escaping. right? These are so we use this when we force some space escaping done to be done, right? So there may be, I guess there were questions on this in the quiz one, where we give where we specify that we do not want a line break by a minus sign or a hyphen, not the hyphen, yeah, the hyphen along with this percentage, right? So if you, can you see the highlighting here? I'm selecting the text.
Yes, sir.
Right, so there, just before that, you'll have to give one hyphen. Okay, so if you give that, it is called as template escaping. Okay, escaping is the word here. So what is happening? We are trying to escape with the breaks that is forced by the Jinja template. Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, maybe Sunil, do you have this question written somewhere in your system?
This question, yeah, I had the mock document. I can copy and paste from there. There is no any place that is written.
Okay.
Can you?
Okay, fine.
Are you asking me to run this and show it to people?
Yeah, we can show by making certain changes. But if it is clear, I guess that is not required.
Could you repeat the hyphen bit? Where exactly do we have to put the hyphen to escape the space?
Yeah, so see, one way is to write the entire code in one line. Okay, but if you still want to write the code and giving line breaks, like changing the lines, what you can do is give an hyphen here just before this.
Got it.
Okay, just before this, and then everything will come in one line. And if you, so this is where, so if you observe this, the numbers, how are they appearing? So they are appearing with this is my home page, and then it looks like there is one line gap. The entire line is empty, and then there is one. Okay, there is also a possibility that you can have this all the things one, just below one there will be 7, just below 7 there will be 13, and so on. Okay, so for that what we need to do is so that will happen when you give hyphen sign here. Okay, only by this. Okay, but if you want everything in one line, along with this you have to give hyphen sign here and here after the percentage. Okay, so if you want the entire code to be written one below the other and still want the output to be in one line, in that case we use something called as escaping. Okay, otherwise the alternative to that is the what I've said in the very beginning, right? You can write every code that there is in one line. So starting from here till here, everything has to be written in one line, and obviously this paragraph tags have to be removed.
Got it.
Okay. Okay, yeah. I think you can go ahead. So the one who asked this question, if you want this in one line, is this clear?
What's the name of that?
Okay. No,
Sort
if there are any questions.
Yes, sir, got the point. But the last point which you make was not clear. That
Hyphen thing. Okay, no issues. I'll try to show you. Okay, so can we leave this question for the last? I'll try to show that. So we'll try to finish the other questions, and then okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So no, go ahead.
So any more queries regarding
Meanwhile,
this
I'll try to
question?
find the code if I find one.
Oh, okay.
You can copy the code from here.
Yeah. The entire thing I'll have to write now. This Flask app and all. Okay. I'll write the code meanwhile. Okay. Yeah, I'll write the code meanwhile.
Okay. So any more queries regarding this question? Can we go to the next question? Okay, so the next question is, yeah. So the question number 9. So a question is asking that why would the user wants to build URLs using URL reversing function URL_for instead of hard coding them into the templates. So our first question is, option is user can change URL in one go. Can you increase the font? Okay. Okay, so yeah. So our first option is user can change URLs in one go instead of needing to remember to manually change hard-coded URLs. Okay, so second option is URL4 easily handle files that are even outside the template folder. Third is the generated paths are always absolute, avoiding expected behavior of relative path in the browser. And the fourth option is if the application is placed within a folder inside the URL root. For example, in my application instead of URL4 properly handle that. So, okay. So before explaining this question, I just wanted to hear from you all that why we use URL4 instead of we can also hard code into our templates, and we can also why it is important to generate URL dynamically. So can someone unmute and can give their
It's easy and can be coded in a single.
sorry, I can't hear you clearly.
It's easy and hard coded. You just have to put a single line.
Okay. So I am not able to hear you clearly, but okay. Anyone else? Anyone else wants to say something about this question? Okay, so so this is a simple question, right? This is why we use URL4 basically. So whenever we use URL4, it basically generates a URL dynamically. Let's say we have some functions like view functions like 1, 2, 3, and 4 view functions. So at the time of at the runtime, at the time we are rendering some templates and those kind of things, we can generate the URL dynamically with the help of URL4. So so whenever we want to change, or when we want to manipulate the URL, we just not have to go to the template function and the view function again and again and then changing that function's URL. We just have to change the function's name in the URL and we can change we can change the URL from there very easily, right? So our first option is user can change URL in one go instead of needing to remember to manually change hard-coded URLs. Yeah, so we can change the URL inside the URL4 function. We can change the function name, as we know that the syntax of URL is what? The function name. Basically, we write the function name under the URL4 in which you want to for which you want to generate the URL. Okay. So from there also, if we change the functions, so it will dynamically change the URL related to that functions also. So the first option is correct. Second is URL4 easily handles files that even outside the template folder. So this is not correct. It is not correct. It will not handle. It will not handle the thing that is outside the template folder. So third option is the generated paths are always absolute. Okay, they are dynamic, avoiding unexpected behavior of relative path in the browser. So yeah, they are absolute URLs. The URLs that is generated by the URL4 is absolute, and we can that is whatever after the comma we can. What is there in the screen? Okay. So avoiding unexpected behavior of relative path in the browser. So yes, so this URL4 will generate an URL which is just absolute, which is just dynamic, and we cannot expect any kind of unexpected behavior whenever we run those URLs. Whenever we run the Flask app and the URL for redirects, show us the URL, dynamic URL that it has generated, it will give us the absolute URL and it will work properly fine if we go to the particular URL generated by the URL4. And after that, the third option is also correct option. So yeah, the generated path is always absolute. The fourth option is if the application is placed within a folder inside the URL root. For example, in my application, instead of slash URL4 properties handle that. Okay. So in this particular option, it is saying that if your application is in directory, which is slash my application, so URL4 will also handle, it will take care if you are if you are using a simple slash instead of my application. So it will also generates absolute URL for that also. So it will handles if you use a single slash instead of my application or slash, which is nothing but the directory of your application. So 1, 3, and 4. Okay, there is something on the chat. Okay, so 1, 3, and 4 is correct option.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay, yeah.
Is it possible for you to explain this particular question, like usage of URL4 on some ID like VS Code? Something.
Yeah, it is possible for me, but I think it will take some time. So can we deal this question at last, and at the time others will demonstrating that question number 8, the question before it. The same time will demonstrate you what will be the uses of URL4 in the same programs.
Okay.
What are relative paths?
Relative path. So see, relative path, the path which you see in the URL. Okay, the URL, there are many parts, right? The path, the parameters, and many things like that. So unexpected behavior of relative path. So that thing is only the relative path. The path is also I am not sure about relative, but path is something like the one section of a URL. So can Adarsh, can you give us some inputs about what is mean by relative? I think relative is something like paths only.
Okay, so you want to know, okay, so relative path, right? No, so see what happens is when you give the route in the application, for example, we go into one of the questions before. Okay, yeah. So let's say we consider this thing, this part, right? The about bit, project bit. So this is an absolute path. We are providing the exact path there. Okay, but what is relative path? Relative path is when we do not store any static path in our code anywhere. Okay, we rather use some modules that will create the path structure whenever we run the program. Okay, that is relative path. Why is it called relative path? For example, we have modules like OS and sys, right? So we use sys.apps path. What is that doing? So don't worry about the functions for now. What that does is it is making the path of the system on which it is running. Okay, so when we use relative path and run the program, it will look for the path which is created by the system and not the one that is hard coded. Okay, so if we see these three, these are the URL that we are hard coding here. Okay, and what below that, what behind that, what is the complete URL here? Here it is this is the complete URL, right? So this is starting here and this is the base URL. But where is the function? How is the function knowing that the base, the whatever is coming, the folder structure or the file where this code is stored, where is that? Right? How is the function knowing that? Okay, so in that case, we use relative path. What it does, the relative path will bring about the complete URL what is before this. Okay, before this, as in, if I can still share. Okay, I'm sharing only this part, right? Just give me a minute. Okay, if I go to, okay, let me go to this. Okay, so is this visible, right? So you can see the command prompt here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is happening here? The command prompt is I've opened this opened this directory, okay, which is my work app dev September 21 and quiz 2. Okay, so this is the directory. So if I run a Python file here, which is present in quiz 2 folder, it will run. Okay, no issues. What if I've saved the entire path from here, writing starting from G, then my work app dev September 21 quiz 2 slash, for example, if I have any, if you still see the folder structure, if you can see that there is any Python file, is there any Python file? Let's say there is a Python file. I don't find any Python file here. Let's say there is a Python file. Okay, and if I same part here. Okay, so here the command. So here, if I write like this, something like this, then slash abc.py. Okay, this is the entire path of my the module that I've written, that is abc.py. Right. So if I'm saving this, if I'm saving directly this, and I want some if I go to some other function with the same path, it will not work, right? Because the folder structure is not same in the other machine. Okay, so let me say if I go to some other folder, for example, let's say we go to this 3. Okay, and if I open the markdown here, not command prompt here. Okay, so the what is the path here? It is G my work app dev September 21 quiz 3, right? So if I write here abc.py, this will not run. Why? Because abc.py is not here, but it was there in the other folder. Okay, so and what is the issue? Because I had saved my path to be this, and then quiz 2, which was statically saved in my code. Okay, so that is the absolute path that I'm giving. Okay, what is relative path? Relative path is to give only the function, okay, only the function name abc.py, and let the system decide what is the path here before that. Okay, so we are only giving relative to what is the system you are working on. Okay, in that case, it will not run into error because the root directory of that particular file will be retrieved by the system itself. Okay, so we are only giving those paths which is important to me. Okay, for example, the entire module, in the entire module that I've created, there was not, the file wasn't there in directly in the root directory, but it was there in a folder. Okay, so let's say it is template. If I've written the spelling right, template, and then slash abc, template slash abc. Okay, so this is important for me. Okay, this is important because my folder structure where I have created my entire project will have a folder template, and within that folder there is abc.py. So path from here to here is the relative path. Okay, before that, if we are allowing the system to take by itself, that is how that is where we talk about relative paths coming into picture. Okay, because we only give what is important to us. What is an absolute path? To provide the entire thing. Okay, this is the absolute path. Every time when you try to run this module, you'll have to go through this path, and if this path is not there, it will come throw error. Okay, is this part clear? The relative path and absolute path.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now if this is clear, what is URL doing? URL for doing, it is taking care of these things till here. So what do we write generally? URL for abc.py or URL for simply abc. We don't have to even write the extension. Okay, so it will take care of all this absolute path and the relative path that is there. Okay, we don't have to worry about whether it is there in the correct folder, whether it is there in the correct subfolder. Okay, we might have to provide, so what we'll do, URL for this, URL for the folder name, for example, I guess static, right? So if there is a file which is in the static folder, let me write static. Okay, static folder, and it is not a py file. Generally, we don't write py file there, we'll write JS file. Okay, so what we will write, and even then we will write here different folder, let's say scripts. So this is another folder within the static folder. So what we need to do is just have to write the URL for static and then give the folder name here, script/abc.js. Okay, we do not have to take care of this. Okay, and this will make your function, the entire module, which is starting from here, the root folder, right? Which is starting from here. This is where you created. So this will allow this entire module to run in any system or any machine. Okay, you don't have to worry about this. What comes before this. Okay. So if you want to, get the exact idea what is absolute path and what is relative path, you can go through. Did I press enter? No. So you can go through this modules, OS and sys. Okay, and there are things like sys.path. Okay, so that will give you a better idea of what is the absolute path, what is relative path. Okay, in terms of our application development, when we use Flask, things like URL for take care of those things. We don't have to worry about that much. If you are not using URL for, it would be, will rather than find the absolute path every time, save it as a string and then run it. Okay, so while probably in week 5, some of the sessions you may have seen, we are finding the absolute path, the directory name, and then joining it with the SQLite database, right? So this is where we are not using things like URL for. Does this give you a brief idea, if not all?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so this is something that URL for does. Okay, now if your URL for has been given a separate section in documentation. Okay, even I'm not sure, completely aware of what things it provides, but we have taken care of only those which we will be using. Okay, or which we think that okay, this is useful. Okay, so there are other things, even we can direct with or even we can link with other files which are not even in the template folders, so that also can be done. Okay, but but that is not required. We are more bothered about the files that are there in the templates folder and static folder. Okay, now again, not even the templates folder is not much required. Why? Because the Flask by itself looks for all the all the views in the templates folder by itself. You don't have to worry about it. The main issue comes, or main directory thing comes, when we talk about files that are there in the static folder. Okay, so in that case, we do not want to simply change the route everywhere, right? Changing the slash and abc and slash and def. You don't need to do that. Instead, use URL for. There we simply have to write the name of the directory, name of the files that we're looking. Okay, I hope this part is briefly clear. Okay, we'll have to, it would have been better if we have given you more examples, but yeah, so going through documentation will also help. Okay, shall we move ahead with this?
The
Yeah, I think
person
Sonal.
was
Yeah,
asking
I
the
think Sonal, you
rated
can move it.
part. Are you clear with that? Okay. I think he is clear.
Ma'am, also the fourth option, I didn't understand.
Others, are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, I'm sharing now.
Okay, so others, are you explaining this point, root directory? The same thing that you are explaining, right?
Yeah. So I give you the brief idea of what URL for does. Okay. So, okay, fourth option. If the application is placed within the folder inside URL root, for example, in my application, instead of slash, URL for property properly handles that. Okay, my application instead of, okay, fine. Yeah, so that's what I was trying to say, right? So even if you have subfolders, there will be minimal change that you need to do rather than changing the entire URI or URL that is targeting to that folder. Okay, so what it says is in the root for root directory, for example, in the static folder, we have another subfolder that is my application, and then within that there is the file that we actually want to look at. Okay, so instead of changing the entire URL, what we will do, we will simply change the folder name or the folder structure within URL form. Okay, so that will take care. You don't need to change the entire URL, take care of properly handle slashes and stuff. So that will be done. Okay, I think that part is clear. This is more of a theoretical part. So I would suggest you go through the documentation, because there is a brief separate section for URL for in the documentation. And definitely we won't be asking things that are highly unlikely that we have used, right, and done that. Yeah, so yes, there is something reference given by Sonal in the chat. So URL for function, yeah. So that is how it is done. Simply write the URL for, and the function name will have the folder name, because we're dealing with folder structure here. And then the key value is where there will write folder name and then give the basic URL, the relative part. Okay, I think this is for now, this is sufficient in that we can discuss in URL for. Okay, I think, yeah, so we can go ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, so I think that is clear. Question number 9. After that, the question number 10, they are asking that what will be the correct sequence of inserting data into the database and using the Flask SQL alchemy. So this is
Is that only me, or is it problem with hello?
Are you speaking something, Adarsh?
No, I thought your voice is breaking a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, it's fine.
Okay, so yeah, so I was telling you that what is the question here? The question here is they are asking about the correct sequence of inserting data into the database using Flask SQL alchemy. So we are considering the Flask SQL alchemy thing here. So if you read about the Flask SQL alchemy, the first thing we do in order to insert any kind of data into the database, the first thing we do is creating that Python object. Okay, so if you consider an Flask SQL alchemy project, file, you can see that the first thing we do is we create a Python object. We creating an app dot is equal to something like that, and then we add that Python object to the session. Okay, we add that particular Python object that we created, that that what app dot and something like that. Okay, that thing to the session, and after that it is mandatory to commit the session. So if we go to the options, we can see that first options tells that create a session. So, and after that they are telling to add the object to the session and then committing. So it is not true, right? We first have to create the Python object in our application. After that, after the completing of the whole program, application, we go, we create and we add that Python object to the session, and then only we finally commit the session. So the first option is incorrect. If you go to the second section, it is telling that first we create a session and after commit the session and then not adding to it, which is totally wrong. The committing thing is the last step, right? After adding, this is the last step that we do in order to add anything into the database. So second option is also incorrect. If we go to the third option, and if we go to the fourth option, so you can see one thing common here, like create a Python object. Okay, in both of the option we can see that both are creating the object, Python object, at the very beginning, which is true. And after that, in the third option, we can see they are adding this object to the session. But in fourth option, they are committing, which is not true. So after adding only, we can able to commit the session. So that's why option 4 is not correct, and option 3 is correct in our case. So first we create the Python object. After that, we add that Python object to the session, and at last, finally, we commit those sessions. So option 3 is correct in our case. Is this question is clear? Hello.
Yes.
Okay, someone is speaking or okay. I think this question is simple enough. So I think this is clear. So in question number 11. Okay. So in question number 11, the question is consider the following table. So one table is given, a model class company. So the table name is company. So it is used to create a table name company in the database, which is shown in the figure. So this table name is company, which is in the database. It is depicted as small letters and then the company. So we have employee ID, employee name, employee salary, and employee address as a column, and we have 5 records in this table. So what is the question? Question is, what will be the output of the following Python code if the code is executed from the Python console? So in this question, we had created a model, right? We had created a model called company, and we have added some of the columns there, like stated in the table. And then we had some queries. We had some code that is written in Python, which is executed in the Python console. So they are asking what will be the output. So if we go to the Python code, can you scroll up a little bit? Okay, so this is our Python code. So see, in our Python code, we can see a record is equal to, so see here we are querying in the database. So for querying in the database, querying the table, this query dot filter is the basic thing we do always. So company is the name of the table, and after that we are performing the filter on it. What is the filter? So filter is that company dot imp name. So imp name is one of the column of the particular table company. So we want all the employee names. We want all the employee names from the table company, which is like this is something like starting from A, right? A in which in upper letters A. So in previous one of the question, which is taught by the Devi ma'am, she was also stating one of the question like in which they are asking like which of the thing which starting from this and ending with this kind of thing. So here we want something like all the employee name which who names start from capital letter A, and we wanted them all. So because we are writing here the thing like dot all, so we want all the employee name from the company table whose name starts from capital letter A. So here we are created an object called record, and we are storing that all the objects in the record itself. So here if we see why we in the second line, we can see we are performing a for loop on the particular object which we had created earlier, which is the record. So if we go and loop through the record object, let's say we are not looping through the object and we are only printing the record, right? We are not looping through, and we are not printing the thing that is next to in the third line. Okay, we are not doing this. If we are just have to print record, then what will be on our screen? There is only there is not any kind of name. Okay, there is something like objects which we can see on our screen, like whichever the thing that we got from the particular query that we had written above, only the object will be printed onto the screen and not the employee name. So for doing for printing the particular employee name related to the particular object that we had created, we are looping through each and every record. So record which is objects. So here we are looping through record and printing what? Records.imp name. So whenever we do this, we'll print all the employee names from the company which had names starting from capital letter A. So in the first option, you can see the thing that I was telling earlier, that this is the thing which will print if we not specifying the employee name at the third line. We are specifying, we are asking them to print the employee name related to the particular object. So object is what? Company 2 and company 4. So here in the first option, it is true whenever we are just printing the records here. Okay. Whenever we only print the records here in the third line, it will print company 2 and company 4, because if we go to the table, can you go to the table? Yeah, in the table, we can see that at the second position, in the second position, which is Amrita, you can see Amrita, which is starting from A, and at the fourth position, there is Akash, which is starting from A. So here, whenever we query, can you go down? So whenever we print only the records, which is just an object, which is company 2, so it will print company 2 and company 4 only. It will not print the employee name related to that particular object. So if you want to print the employee name related to the object that we had created above, so it is mandatory to do this kind of stuff like records.imp name. So whenever we do this, we will get the employee name related to company 2, which is Amrita, and the employee name related to company 4, which is Akash. So number 2 is wrong option, because it is also taking Rahul, Harshit, Rohan. Of course, this is not something like we want. We want the thing only starting from capital letter A. So option 2 is wrong. In option 3, we can see Amrita and Akash, which is the correct option, because they are not printing objects to us. It is printing something like name, which we want. So yeah, in our case, option 3 will be the correct option. What is option 4? Yeah, none of the above. So
Excuse me, ma'am.
okay, yeah.
Filter and filter by give us the same output, like company dot query dot filter. And we have been taught one more function, that filter underscore by. So both function gives us the same result.
Yeah, filter and filter by both these things are used to filtering out into the database. So yeah, so if we use filter by in this case, I think this will give you something like I think it will give something some similar outputs, right, others? If you are using filter by, I think this will also give the same output, because both of the things is using to filter the database only.
Yeah, both are mostly same. See, what happens is here in filter we can write a query. Okay, we can write a query kind of thing in filter. Okay, but in filter by we have to so this is like in filter by we can check a particular record with a particular entry. Okay, so if you observe the the argument of filter by, you will always be comparing it with something. Okay, so it will be like so it will not be accepting things like a%. Okay, filter by clause will be accepting like this company dot employee name. So see, here we are talking about company. Okay, so this company class, but the function knows when we use filter by, the company knows that there is a record or there is a column with employee name. Okay, so the query in that case would have been record company dot query dot filter by company employee name equals to Akash or equals to Amrita. Okay, and then it will be first, not all, because it will not be retrieving the like all the data. It will be retrieving only one data, because we'll find only one data which will be equal to Amrita or Akash, like corresponding to them. Okay, so you compare with something when you use filter by. In filter you can write a simple query like thing. Okay, so this employee name dot like is a similar to SQL query. A% is something that we use in wildcard, right? So we have seen a question similar to that before. Okay, so that is the difference.
Yeah, so for basically for more powerful kind of queries, we can use filter. And filter by, we just ensure some kind of name value pairs, like this is equal to this, and some assignment kind of thing. So equality kind of thing. But in the filter, we can write some more queries, more amount of queries, and this kind of thing.
Yeah, so basically both are same thing, one and the same thing. They both filter out, but the way you put argument in them is different.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why option 3 is our correct option, as I had explained you earlier. Any more queries? Sorry, any more questions based on this? No, not yet. Okay. Yeah, any more queries? Yeah, I think this is clear. Yeah, Adarsh, I think this question is clear for now. Yes, so yeah, so we are moving up to the next question, which is question number 12. So this is a simple Flask app. We can see a Flask app which has one view function with the app.route. And here, as you had learned earlier about the converters, so here we are using the path converter, right? So here, after /my path route, which is our simple route endpoint, so after that we are defining a path converter, in which we are defining a variable known as URL path. So in our view function, we are just passing those URL path And after that, we had returning those URL path, which has been passed into the path converter under the that route endpoint. So this is our question, and what is written behind it. Let this Flask application running on this, then what will be the browser render for URL? Okay, can you scroll a little bit down? Okay. So they are asking that what will be the browser render for URL this whole URL. So it will throw 4 page not found error. So see, whatever the route in the route, we can see that after my path route, which is defined by ourselves, the thing that URL path is something kind of dynamic, something that is we are providing by the URL only itself. So the thing after my path route slash after the whole thing will be my variable that is defined under the path converter, which we are passing into the view function. Here in the my path route view function, we are passing the URL path, which is something which is typed by us in the URL. So whichever the thing which is written after the my path route slash, this whole thing will be our variable, which is nothing but the path converter. Okay, so it will not give us the 404 page not found error, because this is a defined thing, right? This is the defined thing. We had defined this thing previously in our route, so it will not give you error. It will render as the path is, this is my directory, this is my subdirectory. So see here, it will show something like this is my directory, this is my subdirectory, but after that it will show something like home page and not this is my subdirectory. So yeah, in this case option 2 will be also not true, because it will not give you something like this is my subdirectory. And if you go to option, okay, can you scroll a little bit up? Okay, so I was in option 3, right? Okay, so if if you go to the option 4, the path is this is my directory, this is my subdirectory and home page. So this is the right option, right? Because my path, after the my path route in the routes itself, we had the whole thing after that will be passed as a variable into the view function that we had defined, and they return this thing that it will render the path is, and after that the whole thing that we had specified in the URL itself. So option 4 will be the correct option. Okay, so anyone wants to ask anything about this question?
Ma'am, but what will be shown on web page? It will be blank or what?
No, it will see, it will render, right? If you go to the view function, see, yeah, if you go to the view function, you can see here like they are returning the path is plus URL path. So your path is something after that my path route, which will be defined on the URL itself. See, if you get to this, if you go to the browser and if you are hitting that thing which in the question they are asking, that HTTP and something like my path route, this is my directory, this is my subdirectory and all these things. So they will take all this thing after my path route as a variable, and it will render the path is and plus the URL path which I told you earlier. So on the web page itself, it will show like the path is and the whole thing. Is it okay?
No, ma'am.
So you are asking that on the web page itself, it will return it or not, right?
Ma'am, to whom this value will be returned? Like return the path is plus URL path. Then this thing will be returned to whom? Like to it will be shown to web page, or it will be printed on the console, or what?
Yeah, it will shown on the web page whenever you enter this URL into the browser. If you if you run the Flask app at the backend, and if you hit the URL that is given in the question, like the whole thing that is written on the second line of the question, so it will show you a web page on which you can see at the top that the path is, and the URL path, what is the URL path? The URL path is nothing but the whole section that is after the my path slash. Okay, and what is that? This is my directory slash, this is my subdirectory slash home page, which is after my path root slash. So this is basically the web page that you will see on your screen. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So any more queries? I think this question is clear. I don't think. Okay, one more. Okay, anyone wants to ask something? Or okay. They are saying no. Okay. So okay, one person is asking something. Bhavya.
Ma'am, is there any scope of the like the last question in the mock, the one with a string as the answer, a sentence as the answer? Is there a scope for that in the quiz?
Okay, give me 1 minute, right?
Okay,
There is someone on my group. Okay.
Hello. Yeah, okay, so let me take that question. Yeah, so Bhavya, yes, you can expect questions like that. Okay, so there will be these are like a descriptive questions where you'll have to read the questions, okay, and answer briefly what should be the answer, not the direct answer, but some some manipulations done, some explanation if it is a theoretical explanation, some calculations if required, so that can be added in the string. Okay, so it will be an area provided to you, calculation and all, for that things will be provided to you, and then you can come up with final answer. So it will be a descriptive type, right? So for a reason it is called as descriptive, because you'll also have to write all the method that you have used, any calculations you have done, and then finally the answer that you have come up, so that you'll have to write.
But sir, in such type of questions, if you miss a single full stop, when the question shows answer is wrong.
No, that will not happen, because these questions will not be checked or compared with the pre-written question. These will be checked manually.
Okay.
Okay, so we will be manually reading out your responses and giving you marks accordingly. Okay, so that will be the thing. Don't worry about things getting compared with some pre-written string and getting wrong if you miss a space or full stop. That will not.
Okay.
Okay, so should I move ahead?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah. So okay, so next question is a simple one. Okay, we are simply trying to deal with a query that is already on the table, that is already there in the database. Okay, so a model class product creates a table product in a database given below with the product ID as primary key. Okay, so this gives us the basic information of what is the class. Okay, so the class is product with capital P, and that what it does is it creates a product table. The table is given here. Okay, and this table has product ID as primary key. Okay, now what is the thing that you want to do? We need to the user wants to retrieve a list which contains only name of listed products. The correct function that does that is Okay, so we need to find out or we need to display or render a list of only products, right? So it should show pipe, board, cement, and like that. Okay, yeah. So we'll go with first option. Yeah. So app.route products. We have specified that the method is get. Okay, would have been correct if we had not specified it also, because by default it is taken. It would be taking get method, right? So first line is correct. Let us go to the function. So it will be product equals to product dot product name for product in product dot query dot all. So this completely is called as list comprehension. Okay, this complete statement is called as list comprehension. What have we done? We have written three things, three lines in one thing. Okay, what have we done? We have created the product. First thing, we have created the object here. Okay, generally how do we do it? We create object. Okay, then we go to the template. And in template, we write two things. What do we write? The for loop, right? So for product in product.query.all. So instead of the object that I would have created, let's say the object that I've created was products. What I would have written product.query.all. What will that products object have? It will have a list of all the records that is there. Okay, so it will be having a list of all the records that are there in the table. Okay, because we are not filtering out by anything. It will have all the products, yes. And then what are we going through? We are using a for loop which is going through the individual product, okay, or individual object, which is nothing but a product. And what are we printing from that object? The product name. Okay, therefore product name gives you the exact name of that product. Okay, and that is happening through all the records that are there in the list of objects which is given by this. Okay, so this is called as list comprehension. And simply once I got the list of products, I simply have this thing, right? I can simply print it here. Okay, so this makes option 1 correct. Any issues in option 1?
No.
Right. Second thing, if we see app.route products name query.all products, so everything remains same, only methods change, right? So if the methods change, nothing happens, right? We can still do the same thing using post method. Okay, so it will return exactly same thing the way we want, or exactly the list of products with using post method also, right? Is there any issue with option 2?
So post method is used to generally post the data to server.
Yeah.
And how we can
post
get
method
data?
is generally used to send some data to the server, but it does not mean that it cannot retrieve data from the server. Okay, the same thing what get does can be done with the help of post also.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so I'll try to explain you with this small example. Okay, let me just see that. Are you able to see my screen, by the way?
No, sir.
Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, is it visible now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, so I have written a small code, okay, which will be using only post method. Okay, let me just increase the font. And I will also post this. So this is what it is doing. It is simply returning a string, but this is happening with the help of post method. We are not using any get method here. Ideally, if I run this code and hit this URL, which is the base directory, it should directly render this page. Okay, so we'll try that and do that. So it will be Python example.py. Yeah. So yeah, so what it is showing method not allowed. Why is it showing method not allowed? The reason being, if I see this in the inspect page and go to network, okay, and try to run it again, I see that I'm trying to hit this URL. Okay, I'm getting 405, that is method not allowed. But if I see the So see the network. Just a minute. Want to see what it is showing currently. Okay, so if I click here, see what I see, what I'm getting here. Why am I getting method not allowed here? Because it is hitting this URL with the method get. It is the request method. Okay, so if the request method is get, and in the code, I'm only allowing post, it will say that get method is not allowed. Okay, that is the reason we are getting it get. Reason we are getting method not allowed. So how do we how do we reach this content using post method? Okay, so we'll have to force the method. Okay, for that we'll use curl. Okay, because we want to hit a URL. See, the Flask by default hits the get method. Okay, it hits the any URL with get method unless we are using or we are trying to send data. Okay, so in the form what we do write action. We send the action and we specify that whenever you go to the submit, you use post method. We are specifying it in the form. Okay, but in the controller, we do not specify that you hit this with get, it hit this with post. Okay, so how to do that? We'll try to do that using curl. Okay, so I'll try to open command prompt in the same window so that I don't need to go anywhere. Quiz 2. Okay, so I've entered command prompt. Now what I need to do, I need to use curl method and hit the same URL. This is the URL. Okay, but here I need to specify that the method that I'm imposing is post. Okay, let's see what happens. So if I hit enter, it shows me this is home page. Okay, so it is rendering the page when I say that you do this, but with the post method. Okay, so if I try to also see post method and okay, so with V I get all the details, right? So here if I see, yeah, so I got the response 200. Okay, that is okay, but it is not specifying the method anywhere, is it? Okay, so this is an app, right? So we can see the response from here also. Yeah, if you see here, can you see this part? This third line, right? So this third line, what is happening? It is getting 200 okay with the response, and the method is post, right? So this shows that you are using the post method. Initially, we had method not allowed because the method was get.
So
okay, the same, yeah.
Yeah, so you are rendering post method using command prompt. Can we do that using the browser?
With browser,
Any way to do that in browser? Like here we have used curl and post. Any way to do that in browser?
No, browser by default, if you try to hit the URL, by default, it will go with the get method.
Yeah, but we can't change the default thing.
I'm not sure if that is possible.
Okay.
Okay, that is the reason whenever we use form, we can do that. We can specify that you do that with the help of post method. So in the methods, we specify that you do that with post. Okay, but in browser, I'm not really sure if that can be done. Okay, you hit a URL.
Option 2 should not be correct.
Option
2 in the question.
Just let me go to that question again. Yeah, which option?
Second post.
Okay, so that's what I was telling you, right? So same thing can be done with the methods post.
But cannot be directly done. If we use this route directly, browser is showing the method.
No, so here also it is direct only, right? I didn't say, okay. I didn't say that you have to go by browser only. See, what is the question? The user wants to retrieve the list of which consists only the names of listed product. The correct function that does that. There is no issue with the function. How do I go with that? How do I hit the URL? Depends, right? Had the question been, if you hit the URL, what will happen? If that was the question, only option 1 would have been correct. Okay, similarly, if you see this question, it is just an a similar example, because the thing is I did not use this because we do not have DB, we do not have that table, and we do not have a way to retrieve that table, right? So for the same question, I would have to completely, create the database and stuff, which is not required, right? If I can do that with a similar example. Okay, so this example is what it is doing. There is no issue with this function. It is still working. Okay, the matter is how do I reach this function? Okay, that I'm doing with curl. So if that was the function initially, if consider if everything was running fine, okay, the database was connected and everything was done, I would simply hit like this, right? In the command point, if I go, what was the query again? It was simply this, and then it was products. Okay, here, yeah. So if I had hit this and everything was running there, I would have got the list of products. Right? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the idea is to say that, okay, same thing can be done with get and post. Yeah, but mostly why don't we do? Because we send data with post. But that does not mean that we cannot retrieve any web page or any cannot call any method using post. That is the idea. Okay. Let's see about the other option.
So for rendering post methods, there are only two ways to do that, using form and using curl on command prompt, or is there any other way?
Currently, I can think of only two. Okay. If you have something like Postman, okay, what Postman does, it reaches a particular source with a particular method.
Okay,
right?
sir. Got it. Yes,
Right.
got
So
it.
if you have something like that, that can also be done. But Postman is only related to APIs, right? Yeah. So that was the thing. I think if we can try to do that with Postman. Am I sharing my screen by then?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Let's try to hit the URL. We still have the thing running, right? Yeah. Let's try to do that with Postman. So it is this. Okay. And we'll do that with post. Yeah. It is working. Yeah, so Postman can also do. So it is allowing us to hit a URL with a particular method. Right. This also is a is handy. Right. So so I guess Bhavya, did you ask me about the browser thing? You can do this with Postman also, along with apart from curl.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I hope this is clear, right? Let's go to other functions why it is not, why they are not correct or why they are correct. Let's see. Yeah, so this third option, it is giving us the product name for product. So this will not give me product name. Why? Because here my product, the product here is the object, and there is no attribute. There is no attribute in the list. Okay, this is forming a list of product name, but the product name is not there in the list. It is an attribute of the object product. Okay, so the problem here is I'll have to write something like this, product dot product name, because I'm trying to retrieve an attribute which is an attribute of product, not the entire thing that I'm trying to search here with this product. Okay, so therefore this is wrong. This will not lead me anything. Okay, and the third one is method. This is fine. Product.query.all list of, so this product.query.all is an object. Okay, or this is a list of object. You will get a list of object. So the list of products is product. So here it will print only the, not the product, but the entire object. Okay, that's why this is not right. Okay, therefore we'll have only option 1 and option 2 correct. Any issues here?
No.
Okay, fine. Next is somewhat related. Probably it is the same table, I guess. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, okay. So we know that this is all there. So directly jump to the question. The owner of the inventory wants to add a new product gypsum. So this is creating, right? Creating a new product in the product table whose 75 units are available with rupees 60 as the cost of 1 unit. So we are simply finding out, filling out this values: unit 75, unit price 60, and gypsum. For a correct function that does this. Okay. So app.route products get post. Now, why is post added here? Because it is assumed that we are so it is assumed that we are creating a new product and adding it, right? So let's see if post is at all required. Okay, so here if you see the third line, new product name gypsum, unit 75 and unit price 60. If I'm creating this object here, why do I need post? Okay, so there is no point of having post. So if request.method is not at all required. Okay, so option 1 is not correct. So if we go to next option, so this next option, what it is doing, it is simply creating an object, okay, which is correct. Okay, then it is adding that object to the session and committing the session, which looks fine. Okay, so this option is correct. Next, if we go to next thing, tb.session.add product name equals to gypsum. So this cannot be done, right? We cannot simply add anything anywhere. We need to create an object. And then why? Because product name is not an object. We'll have to create an object because this add method will take object as its argument. Okay, it will not take anything as its argument. So before creating the object, even if you see the first previous question, probably it was 9th question, what was the correct way in which an element is or any record is added in the database? First, an object needs to be created, then it is added to the session, and then the session is finally committed. Okay, we have not created any object. Okay, so this cannot be done. Next, here this is okay, this is fine, no issues, but we have not defined any method like post. Okay, so if not defined method, we are not using any form, how can we do that, right? So this is not correct because we have not defined what method we are using. Okay, even if the request.method is post, how do you know or how do you put post as a method? How do you request something or resource with the post method, right? So for this, we need to specify what method we are using. Okay, so therefore this option is correct. So only option 2 seems correct, right?
So
yeah.
If we were if we had defined that type of methods in option 4, then also it would have been wrong.
If you define the type of product, then what
type of methods if we had defined in the app, then also this option would have been wrong, because
okay,
in that very case,
why
it will become the option 1.
This becomes option 1. Your voice is there is a lot disturbance.
So option 1 is wrong, right?
Yeah, option 1.
And for the same reason, option 4 will also be wrong if we add that types of methods which that view function will be accepting.
No, option 1 and option 4 has a difference of committing.
Okay.
Right, in option 1 we are creating object, adding it to the session, but not committing the session.
If we write that db.session.commit, then this option 1 will be correct.
Yeah, then this option would have been correct. Yeah, in option 1 you'll have to write db.session.commit to make it correct. Okay, and in this option you'll have to add the method to make it correct.
Okay, sir, now I got it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so yeah, that is the correct way of doing it, right? So all these options can be made correct with minor changes, but only option 2 is correct directly. Simply running the function will do the trick, what we want to do here. Okay, is this clear? Any confusion?
So, but in option 1, if we hit that URL endpoint with get request, then that product will not be added, because if block will not be executed.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what. So if, see, we are doing this, and then what we will do with the same thing that we did in here, the second option, right? We'll hit the same URL with method post. It will do the thing. In this question, if I had written commit, then I will hit this URL, and then with the method post, so I'll force the method.
Okay, in that very case, we have to use curl, right?
Yeah, either curl or postman. Postman is also doing the same thing. Or either use form. Okay, and which is right, because which is also right, because in that thing only you'll have to do one thing. Instead of product name directly hard coding it to gypsum, take these values using a form.
Okay.
Right, so in that case also it will be correct. Okay, so a better way to make this correct would be to simply write db.session.commit, okay, and then hit the URL with the method post. Don't have to worry about forms and okay, fine. Here, if we try to do that with post, it will still not do, because I've not defined post method is allowed. Okay, only get method is allowed. Even if you hit the URL with post, it will not do the job, because you have not defined the post method in the methods. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Question number 15. The array brands rendered as an API whose access URL is this, with the help of Flask app is shown below. Okay, so we have created an API. Did we create here? No. So it is assumed that it is created using Flask RESTful, right? But this is the API. Okay, so it is a list, and it returns a couple, not couple, 4 dictionaries. Okay, which has brand and description. Okay, the root function that retrieves a particular gadget from API is also given below. So this is how it retrieves the particular brand from this API, this brands. Okay, then what we need to do, the templates folder. Okay, there is templates folder also, which will give you certain, okay, this output. What will be the output on browser if the user hits the URL, this, and given also the arguments are also given. Okay, so I hope, is there any issue with the code? Because then we'll simply have to retrieve what is there. Okay, so here if I see brand equals to noise, what will happen? It will brand equals to noise. What does this mean? My API or my URL, it can take an argument. Okay, now how do we deal with that argument? API brands, yeah. So this API brands is the URL. Okay, if I'm giving an argument with the question mark, right, in this format, okay, question mark brand equals to noise, I do not have to define it here in the base URL, right? The way we do that angle bracket and then brand name, right? We don't need to do that. Okay, and method is get. Okay, so what it does, it will take the data from the get itself. Okay, but how does the function know that, okay, I am taking certain data? Okay, so that is done with the help of request.args. Okay, so if brand in request.args, okay, what does that mean? If I'm providing brand as an argument, it will take that brand and okay, it will take that brand and append its value in the output, and appends its description in this descrp, which is again okay, this is a variable. Okay, this is a simple variable, and this output is an object. This will take this, okay, this entire dictionary it will take inside. Okay, and then we are appending the brand, and then we are appending its description in this variable, and then we are rendering out.html where we give this brand equals to this. This is clear, right? This is simple. This is the way we pass the arguments to the template. Okay, then it takes the title, okay, this brand, and then you have selected strong. Okay, so whatever we have selected. So from here it is pretty clear that okay, there will be noise will come here. Okay, the only thing that we need to say is the description, what description noise belongs to. So it is one of the leading Indian tech brand. So the option that matches that is the correct answer, and it is one of the Indian leading tech brand. Right, so it is pretty intuitive, right? We don't need to pinpoint the code. Okay, is there any so it would be better if we try to discuss specific doubts for this question. Are there any specific doubts?
Sir, in the question, like API/brand/all is given, right? Okay.
API/brand/all, yeah.
What would that drive, sir? Like when given /all?
So that will give you all the brands and its description. Okay,
but in this case here, we put an if for that, right? If brand isn't. So in this case, it won't give any, like it will show an error with this.
No, see, in while creating an API in Flask RESTful, have you created an API in Flask RESTful?
Yes, sir.
Right, so we add resources there. Okay. We add resource, API.add resource, and what do we give inside resource? We relate it with the class. Okay.
Yeah.
So consider brand was the class. We can consider any name because the class is not given here, right? So let's say brand with capital B is the class. Okay. Now I'm defining two URL. Okay. One is API/brand/all. This is one that will give me all the API. Okay. Whose source code I'm not writing anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And the other one is API/brands, and along with this argument thing.
Okay. So
Okay,
now
who's yeah, you got the idea, right?
yeah,
Who's
the source code for the other thing is not given yet. That's all.
it's not given yet. It's not required. It's not given.
Thank you.
Okay. So what is actually why, if it is not given, the entire code is not given, why do we need this, or why have we given this? I'll explain. Okay, so if you go to this URL, you will get output like this. Okay, you don't know what this was. Okay, see, what is an API? It will give you the resource, right? It will give you the entire information, the brand and description when you hit all. Okay, which is stored somewhere in the database. So what you get as an output, you get this as an output. Okay, just to show what is output, I've see what is this statement. The array brands, right? So what is the whatever output I'm getting with this access URL, that I've saved in the brands in the form of array. That is it.
Okay. Yes, sir. Now I get it. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is saved, and then now we are using this API. So this is just for information. Okay, this is the APIs, this is the brand, this is the description. Now you need to take care of function where you are dealing with some arguments and then retrieving its description. That's it. Right, is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it's clear. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, fine. So yeah, so option 3 would be correct here because the noise is having its description. This one of the leading Indian tech brands. Okay, so this is the okay. I don't see the descriptive type question somewhere. Yeah, but just give me a minute. Okay. Yeah, now it is visible. Any issues with this question? Why put method is considered as idempotent, whereas post method is not? I guess I've played this in one of the live sessions previous on. Okay, I'll just give a brief idea what is happening here. So what is the difference between put method and post method, right? So we know that put method is used for updating a resource, and post method is adding or creating a new resource. Okay, that is fine. Now what happens is So there is now here consider that there is a database, and the database is having all the records without any constraints. Okay, so there is no unique constraints and things like that. So when you try to add this method using post, add a new resource with post, it gets added, no issues. Same thing if you do that with put and try to add a new resource, that is creating a new resource, it gets added, no issues. Now if you try to do that same thing, now same credentials, not exactly credentials or same data. If you try to create a new resource but having same data and you have used post method, if you use this post method, it will still create the new entry. Okay, even though the data is same. Okay, remember there is no unique constraint in the database. Okay, so if I'm using this post n times, it will repeatedly put n all those entries. Okay, but in case of put, it will not do that. It will check if the data is same, it will not create a new resource if the resource already exists in the database. Okay, so a method that does not do that, after adding a resource, it does not allow the user to add same resource again and again, is called as idempotent method. Okay, and the method that still allows the user to add same data again and again is not an idempotent method. Okay, this is the idea. Anything that is not clear with whatever I said till now? Okay, so a method that does not allow user to change the database, change the state of database with the same data is an idempotent method. In our case, put. In post, a post method will keep on adding the same resource and again if I do not change the data. Okay, so in that case, it is not an idempotent. Okay, so this is the only required thing. So if yeah, this is the difference between put being called as idempotent and post is not. Okay, anything not clear with the statement? Yeah, so so these if this is clear, so these are the questions these are the type of question that we can, you can expect in your quiz. There will be descriptive type questions also, wherein you'll have to give a simpler explanation written and then finally come up with an answer, okay, which will be evaluated manually. And questions like this are expected. So you need to know what each method is doing, how are we retrieving data. Okay, we won't go into much details of Python things and all, but yeah, some knowledge will be required. We will again, this time we'll again not go into details of templating. Okay, a lot of templating will not be there because we have other major concepts to focus on. So that is one thing. Okay, so with this we are done with discussing our mock. I hope this session was helpful. Okay, any issues, then I'll try to clear. Yeah, Bhavya.
Sir, is there any scope for numericals from weeks 5 to 8? Like 1 to 4, we had numericals relating to the database, the distance of the servers, and calculating the time.
Yeah, surely. Yeah, surely you'll find
So
numericals.
is there anything like that in weeks 5 to 8?
Yeah. There are numericals, right? So which on which I've taken a session.
Yeah, so which session would that be? The open session of week 8 or some other?
Solve with instructor session of week 8, I guess.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Okay,
so the source code for that, the session and the PPT with solution is also there in the portal. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So go through that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, so the questions that will come in the quiz, if there are numericals, the concepts will be same, questions will be related.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so shall we call it a day, because it's already 1 hour extra we've taken, and but I hope all these questions are clear. So you go through these questions one suggestion, go through all the solutions that you have created for assignments also, because they are code heavy, right? So they will give you better idea of what things to expect in the form of code. And also go through the what we call, also go through the questions, the numericals that we have taken for week 1 to 4, weeks 5 to 8. Okay, so that will also help you. Also go through the graded questions once, that will also help you. Okay, yeah, so with that I would like to end this session. Okay, I hope you will do well in tomorrow's exam. Very best of luck for all of you.
Sir,
yeah.
so can you quickly go through that template escaping on VS Code?
Okay, template escaping. Yeah.
For few minutes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I'll share the screen. I've created a question, I forgot. Yeah, so this is the question. Can you see this? Not the HTML. This is the question. Okay, so I've created a simple list. Okay, and it is having items on repetition, right? Just to create an if block. Okay, and then I'm simply rendering an escape.html with my list given as URL. Okay, this is the Python. This is the Python part. Now in the HTML part, what have we done? We have simply written loops. Okay, using templates. So for item in my list, and this is simply just to add an if, right? That's why I have given repeated on items on repetition. Okay, so if 3 in item, just print item, and this item is there in the paragraph. Okay, so this is a similar question that we have seen in the mock. Okay, so if I run this, let me close the server for the previous question. Let's see where it opens. Yeah, so what you see is item 3, item 3, item 3, obviously, because we have put that condition that if 3 is there, you print. Okay, so if we do not put this paragraph, so your question was how to bring it into one line. Okay, so the one way would be, the problem here with this is a block element, right? It's paragraph. So if you simply remove this paragraph and save it, it will come in one line. Okay, now what about HTML escaping? So see, HTML escaping works when we are if you want to write the code in same line but still want things into same. So I just said that you add this one hyphen here, one hyphen here. Okay, what will this do? You save this. Okay, so now there is a gap, right? So if you reload this, there's no gap. Just give me a minute. I may have added it in the wrong place. Not here end if, in the end for. Okay, I'm not getting. Just give me a minute. Okay, let's try it here. Okay. Stay. Item this. Oh. Okay, there's some issue with the coding, I guess. But what I wanted to show you here is, so if you see spaces here, let me zoom this. Yeah, so if you see spaces here, right, with escaping, you can also get rid of these spaces. Okay. Okay, and I'm not able to think of a better function to show you escaping, because what happens is, see, just wanted to one more thing. In this item, what was the initial thing? We had paragraph, right? Okay, so if I put this item here, yeah, so you can see that there is an extra space. It looks like there is an extra space between item 3, but we can bring them together using escaping. Okay, but I'm not sure why it's not working. It's not working. Put it here also. Okay, if it doesn't work, we'll stop here. Otherwise, we don't need to, work on that much on the details. But what the idea is, see, one thing is you bring them in one line and keep them stuck. Okay, there's no space between item 3 and item 3 of the next. And the other thing is the space that we are seeing between these item 3, okay, the horizontal space, that we can also go. Okay, but I'm not really sure what is getting wrong with this code. But I'll come up with the corrected code and send it on Discourse if you require. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, but yeah. So your thing, what you wanted everything to be in one line, that can be done by removing this paragraph. The reason being, this is a block element, so it will take its space. Okay.
Okay, sir. Got the point.
Yeah. So I'll come up with a better code to explain you the escaping. Okay. Currently, I just thought of, I could think of this code. There may be some issue with the code. Okay, I'll come up with a better code that explicitly shows what escaping is doing there and how it is handled. Okay, so I'll come up with a better code and post it on Discourse.
Okay, sure, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you so much everyone for joining, and very best of luck for tomorrow's exam.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah, so we'll end this session here.